And we are back on the backstory and on the radio on 105.5 FM, AM 1390 in Washington, D.C. Joining us now from Moscow, the journalist, great friend of the show, Sonia Van Den End. Sonia, how are you? First off, how are you? And how much did you experience this attack by Ukraine on Moscow?
Hi, Lee. Well, I'm fine. Hope you're fine too. I experienced, yeah, thank God, nothing because I live not in the area where the drones came down. But of course, this morning it was quite a shock when everybody woke up here. And to read or to hear that there was a drone attack, it was, I think, around the southwest, southwest of Moscow, a little bit outside Moscow. And some residential buildings, a residential big building was hit, and I think the top floor, some people got, yeah, it was minor injuries. They didn't have to go to hospital or something, but yeah, it was quite a shock, and I think everybody is in shock, and I think it's a terror attack from Ukraine. It's what they did on the Kremlin, and now they're doing it on residential buildings, on civilians, and this is what they're doing in the Donbass for years already, of course, but yeah, it was quite a shock.
Sonia, it seems a bit like these drone attacks might be less military drones and more some sort of large civilian technology modified to, as you say, create these kind of pinprick terror attacks. Has there been any reporting in Moscow as far as exactly where these drones are coming from or what type of configuration they are?
Well, it's just guessing. I didn't hear a lot yet about the origin of the drones, but apparently, yeah, some people say it was Israeli drones. Some people say
Israeli.
NATO. Yeah. Some people say it were NATO drones. It's not quite clear actually, and yeah, I suggest, but maybe I'm wrong, that we have these terror groups, the new terror groups. It's across the border from Belgorod. Yeah, for me, they have some similarities with Daesh or ISIS, how they're called, because they had on display last week already a tank. They confiscated a tank. They said, well, you can buy them in any shops, in any military shop around Ukraine, in Russia. But I suspect maybe it could be coming from them, because tonight, again, Belgorod is being attacked, also with drones. There was a shelter for refugees. One man died, as far as I could read, and few other people were injured. So I suspect it's coming from these kind of groups. So yeah, of course.
Well, I don't disagree there. My only question is, it seems like Turkish and Israeli and NATO military drones, they're large, they carry devastating munitions, and they're pretty complicated to operate. Whereas these more consumer, photography-focused drones, the types of recreational drones that everybody has seen, some of them have pretty substantial payloads. They could carry a 5 or a 10 or even a 20-pound explosive device of some kind, which could create the kind of shock and attack on a civilian building like you're talking about. But if one of these militarized drones were utilized, I feel like a missile or some more powerful explosive would be involved. So I'm just trying to determine if these are civilian multi-rotor drones or more militarized heavy attack drones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard a little bit conflicting stories today. One specialist here from Russia said it could be Israeli drones. Of course, he didn't want to pin on it that it's really Israeli drones. But he said so because apparently it came from around, they could be coming from around 800 kilometers, these drones. So they're very sophisticated drones. And if it's, what you said, there are, small drones, somehow, maybe these terror groups have or not, then it could be possible coming from Belgorod, because that's not 800 kilometers away. Yeah, actually, I don't know at this time, so I think we will
still a
find
lot of
out.
questions.
Yeah, we will find out coming days what really caused it. Yeah.
Now, Sonia, I understand Vladimir Putin got on TV and addressed the people. what did Putin say? And how did he seem? What was the tone of what Putin was saying?
Well, he definitely said it was a terror attack from Ukraine, how you put it. I mean, maybe it's these groups or whatever, but it's definitely a terror attack from Ukraine, because all these groups, even if they did it, they belong to Ukraine. And there was this guy from Foreign Affairs, the aide of the president. He was speaking already today, and he said, "Yeah, we didn't do it, but okay, we're very happy that it happened." So it's already the second attack, and tonight was the third attack, although it was not a very large one. But yeah, Putin was very determined in that it's a terror attack, and that is what it is. And I think Ukraine is playing with, definitely with, literally with fire. And so does the West, because when this is continuing, then they really attack Russia, Moscow. And that's a big thing, of course. I mean, it's not a declaration of war straight away, but in the end effect, it could be a war. What we all saying, okay, we hope it will not come. We all hope a third world war can be avoided. But, it's getting hotter here, so to speak, every day. So I think this is really a dangerous situation, and it could be escalating. I hope not.
Well, so Sonia, we got a clip I want to play for you. This is Jerry Nadler, I believe, a congressman from New York, who's saying quite clearly he doesn't care if Ukraine attacks Russia and kills Russians. He doesn't care one bit. And we recently had other people in the U.S. say that. Same Lindsey Graham, a senator, recently said Russians dying is a great U.S. investment. But let's hear what Jerry Nadler had to say.
Okay.
Hit it.
And then what do you think about his previous comments, though, that it was too escalatory to do, and then now it's not?
I think he was wrong. I think, every different weapon system first is too escalatory, and then we eventually gave it to them. And they're fighting not only for their lives, they're fighting for democracy, they're fighting for the world order against, just invasion of another country, altering borders by force, which is inadmissible since 1945. And we should give them whatever they need.
And are you concerned that they will enter into Russian territory, as there have been recent reports of Belgorod, the border city?
I'm not concerned. I wouldn't care if they did.
You wouldn't care if they went into Russia?
Nope.
Really? You would still support them?
Turnabout's fair play. I don't think they're going to do it in any large scale. But why should Russia feel that they can invade somebody else and have total safety at home?
Well, but that would cross the line to a U.S. sanctioned invasion of Russia by Ukraine.
We don't have to sanction it.
Well, you would be providing the weapons that conducted it, is what I'm saying. Is if the
We're not providing it for that purpose. I said I personally wouldn't mind.
You personally wouldn't mind, but, you are a representative of the government.
Yeah, so, well, I'm part of the government. I'm not part of the executive branch.
Right.
But I think we should give them whatever they need.
Okay. And if an F-16 was to be used on Russia, you wouldn't come out and say that's too much? It's too far?
No, I don't think that's going to happen in any event, but no. They're going to use F-16s for air defense, basically.
But there are these reports right now that American weapons are being used in Belgorod, which is, a Russian territory. It's already happening.
That may be, but they're not going to use major weapons. I mean, things like F-16s, they need for air defense over Ukraine so that they can provide air cover for their counterattack and things like that. They're not going to waste it in Russia.
So what do you think of that, Sonia? That is, I think, possibly right over the line. You agree?
Yeah, it's terrible. This guy is really terrible. I mean, yeah, he's over the line. He stepped over the line far. I have no words for it. It's.
Are you familiar with Jerry Nadler, Sonia? Do you know who that guy is who was just speaking? He's totally incompetent.
Yeah, I know who he is. I think I heard something about it or read something about it. He is totally, he's really off. I mean, Lindsey Graham is bad enough. He wants to kill, or he doesn't mind if Russians are killed for money, I think he said. But this guy is really, I don't know. It's what can we say? I think he's maybe also a little bit senile or crazy, or I have no
Yeah.
words for these people. It's unbelievable. It's way off, of course. You
So,
cannot.
Sonia,
It's evil.
have you ever heard
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin or any Russian officials say they're glad Ukrainians are dead? Have you ever heard anyone say anything like that in Russia?
No, that's the point. In the US they say it, also in Europe they say it. That even in Europe they are debating now in newspapers what is the best way to kill Vladimir Putin. So I mean they are way off. Yeah, really they do. And it's somehow newspapers that in the early days they were serious newspapers. And they argue about this or making all plans how to do it, what is the best way to do it. So, but here in Russia, I never read or never heard anything about how are we going to kill Zelensky or how are we going to kill, Biden or whoever. So, I mean, it's, the West is sliding in a very dark times, or they are there already. And, it's evil, what you said. It's pure evil what they are doing. And sometimes I think, are they still normal in their head, or is something happening there?
No,
Maybe they're on
they're
drugs,
not.
or no, I know it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
I mean, the bigger problem, I think, is that when you say there's certain things, you can't unring the bell, right? When you say insane, psychotic things like, oh boy, it would be great if Russians got killed, how do you then sit down and engage in diplomacy with those adversaries in the future?
Well, it can't be. This is something what they say here, that they cannot negotiate with, at least not with Zelensky, because Zelensky has a new law that in this law it says that they are not negotiating, cannot allowed to be negotiating with Russia. So, but indeed, how can Europe? I mean, in the early days, especially in Europe, in Germany or my country from my birth, in Netherlands, you had some real diplomats or France sitting around the table discussing. But now, how can you discuss this with these people? I mean, we in the Netherlands, there's Prime Minister Rutte. Every Friday, he's telling, "Oh, we are going, we are at war with Russia." I mean, it's you cannot. It's I don't know what it's very tragic.
Yeah.
Jason, by the way, did you hear what 3 dozen Ukrainians were arrested for over the weekend?
I did not.
3 dozen Ukrainians were arrested for filming, videotaping, on their phone or whatever, the attacks by Russia on Kiev, because there are massive attacks on Kiev, but also across Ukraine. And you're not allowed to film when they drop a missile or bomb in your block. You can't film it because they always lie about. They say they got all of them. It's hard to say we got all the missiles. Had you heard that 3 dozen Ukrainians were arrested, Sonia? Had you heard that?
Yeah, I heard about it, and it's also something that you think. It also there's another story going on that apparently young women are now, because in Ukraine they have this new app, Dia or something it's called, and because and it's something else now, but they want to make Ukraine the first real digital country after, I think it's Estonia or Lithuania, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but they
we
want
were
to
just
make
talking about this on Saturday.
Yeah, they want to make,
Yeah.
they want to make it somehow the first digital country. Imagine the whole half of the country is in ruins. I mean, so many people went out, and economically it's also a disaster, of course. But this is what they want, and now they've put these Ukrainian women who are now trying to get hold of Russian soldiers online, and asking them all questions and secrets and so on, so on. So that's also a story that's, where is it going? I mean, Europe has these crazy ideas of the Green New Deal and, of course, the Great Reset. And part of the Great Reset is digitalization. And now they think that Ukraine should be the role model for this. So imagine this. It's, they have fantasy, a sick fantasy, I think. But yeah, these are stories that they are writing in the
But
media.
Sonia, isn't it clear that this digital, this DIIA, make Ukraine digital, this is coming from the United States State Department, not Ukraine.
Sure, yeah, of course it comes, and in cooperation, I think in Europe you have this World Economic Forum, of course, and they are,
Right.
in this
Right.
digitalization and so on. Of course, it's not Ukraine itself. I mean, Zelensky is just a puppet. Has to do what the big boss is asking, of course. Sure.
Now, I mentioned that about people getting arrested for filming the missiles that didn't hit Kiev, because Russia's been engaged in like 3 or 4 days of absolutely devastating missile attacks. Is that right, Sonia?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I think they were not hitting a lot of residential buildings. Even the media wants you to believe that they were hitting, I think, hospitals, schools, buildings. But they try to hit the infrastructure, or hydraulic water plants or electricity plants, something like that. But yes, of course, they get punished for that if they film it. I mean, it's what I said. It's something like it's it's Nazism, it's fascism. What is going on there? We have it back after so many years. Or maybe it was never, gone. It was always there, and now it's on the surface again.
One of the things that we heard a lot a while ago was that Putin was ill, but yet he keeps showing up looking very healthy for a man of 70. Any information? They seem to have stopped saying that he's ill, but any information about that? Putin looks way healthier than Biden.
Yeah, he's not sick as far as I can see today. Again, he was visiting somewhere, and frequently he's holding meetings and so on. So, but the same is now going on in Belarus. I don't know if you heard it. Lukashenko also was ill, and but apparently every day he's on in the media somehow or on a video. Is trying the same in Belarus. So I mean. This is what they want you to believe, because this is how they play it, This is what they did in Iraq and Syria. They also started there with other things, of course, murderer and so on. But also Putin is a murderer, of course. But I don't think he's sick. He will have the flu maybe, or having a cold, but like we all have. But he looks good, he looks healthy, so okay. That's what I can say.
Now, unlike what we're hearing lately about the Ukrainian military leader Zelensky, right? Yeah. Zelensky, they released a video of him recently, and it's kind of weird. I can't tell what to make of it. What do you think, Sonia?
Yeah, I think when you look at him, when he speaks, a lot of people say he's on drugs, on cocaine somehow. Could be. Because the way he speaks, and when you compare him with, when he was an actor, he looks, of course, much younger, but much more brighter, And now he is, for me, it's an idiot, with his voice already. I mean, when he starts speaking, it's like if he smokes a packet of cigarettes a day somehow, but. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's he lost it some way. He lost it. It's maybe he can't go on with all this rubbish.
In Putin's address today, I understand that Putin implied, he said, we will see how we deal with this. Does it make sense that he said something that implied Russia will retaliate even stronger against these attacks on Moscow? Did you hear that? What did he say, Sonia?
Yes, I heard it, and I'm sure he's not bluffing. This is what they think in Western countries, or Ukraine, maybe US, that he's bluffing. But Russia is never bluffing when they say something, and for sure they will retaliate. Of course, I don't know how. Nobody knows, only they. But they will retaliate, maybe with drones again or something. I don't know. It's people get really angry here as well. Of course, especially the ones who got hit this morning. Small children were there. A lot of people on the streets bringing their children to school or going to work or so. And just they hit it. This is what they're doing already since nearly 9 years in the Donbass. I've been there a lot of times, and I see it. I saw it. Yeah.
So we get a lot of false information over here and news that says that the Russian public doesn't support Putin. You've just raised an excellent point. These types of attacks on, indiscriminate attacks on civilian targets have got to be galvanizing Russian support for Putin. Has there been any observable shift in sentiment as far as the Russian public supporting this effort?
Well, when I came here in the beginning, that's more than a year ago now, you could feel that, especially on the young people, yeah, okay, it's a special military operation, but what we got to do with it, something like that was the attitude. But now, I think slowly but surely, everybody is realizing that, the special military operation is got out of hand, not from Russia, but from the West, because Putin said it himself on the 9th of May, the Victory Day, that actually the West is waging a war on Russia, NATO. He said specifically NATO and the US. So the people know now that, and of course they know, I hear a lot of, the soldiers die, the horrible things happen at Bakhmut or Artyomovsk, and now drone attacks. So, people are now, they are realizing that, that there's something more going on, and maybe we get more afraid that this is going out of hand now. So this is what I sense here, what I hear, and so the people now speaking about it a lot, and they realize and understand that the West wants war. They want regime change, they want to balkanize Russia. And this is also what
absolutely, there's no doubt.
No, because you have these crazy types on internet somehow. Sometimes I got hold of them, we're watching it. And they want the balkanization of Russia. This is what their aim is.
Yeah.
So,
RT has been reporting strikes against decision-making centers and the Ukrainian military intelligence headquarters. From my perspective here in the United States, Putin has been remarkably reserved, given all the evidence. They've been talking about the biological laboratories. They recently presented new evidence that shows that the United States was funding or providing support to these biological facilities that Victoria Nuland has already confirmed. Do you have any insight into, first of all, perhaps why Putin has been so restrained in any kind of retaliation directly against the United States, or if any future retaliation might go beyond Ukraine?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, but that's my personal view, it's what I think, is that he knows that if he's going to retaliate, or the government knows when they're going to retaliate in a very harsh way, then we have World War III straight away. I mean, and I think he is somehow the type of person that wants to wait, or not to wait, but somehow the lives of a lot of people are at stake here. It's not the military who's fighting with each other, but a lot of civilians will die, of course, if we have a nuclear strike or somehow. So I think it's that, and the West is saying, the West is portraying it in the media as, Russia is weak, Russia lost soldiers, maybe their weapons are not up to date, or they're throwing in all old weapons from the Soviet times. I think they just wait, and also maybe they are gambling on that Europe is in a recession now, at least Germany is already. So they, in a way, of course, also hope that people rise up more in Europe, although I think it's past this. I don't think they can rise up, but I don't think there's no chance anymore, because it's too long now. But I think he is cautious. And but of course there are now so many red lines overstepped lately that it's getting patience is running out, I think.
Well, he seems a much more reserved and responsible custodian of the fate of mankind than Joe Biden.
Sure, yeah, I think so. I think he's a great leader because he is concerned about people, about his people. I can read it every day that, about the Russian people. And so, but Biden or European leaders, I think they don't care less. I mean, they bring in all refugees in Europe, so yeah. Who cares, It's economically it's bad. You don't have gas anymore. Now, yeah, okay, no problem. We will have wind mills somehow or solar energy. It doesn't work when you have a lot of rain, but okay, changing the climate, woke, and they don't care at all there. Really, they don't care. It's sad. I think it's a sad way.
And that sums up very well, Sonia. They don't care. So great conversation as usual, Sonia. It's getting late there in Moscow. Thanks so much. Great appearance. Let's take a short break. I'm going to come back more on the backstory.
Thanks a lot, Lee. Bye. Bye, Peter.